Hi, my name is Nishant and welcome to this class on averages. Average is one concept which is frequently asked in almost all the exams. It's a simple concept if you know it well, if you understand the nuances of it. It can be fairly complicated if you have not understood it well. So today we'll go through the concept of averages. We will look at the standard deviation method of calculating averages. We'll look at weighted average and we'll do a lot of questions, many of which have appeared in important exams in last few years. Okay, so let's get going. Now, average can be defined. As you can see here, average is nothing but the central value in a set of data. Okay, so average can be calculated simply by dividing the sum of all the values in a set by the total number of values. Or in other words, an average value represents the middle value of a data set. The data set can be anything: age, number, marks, money, runs, whatever. So it is basically sum of all the quantities divided by the number of quantities. If your quantities are x1, x2, x3, go up to xn, you add all of them, divide by n, you get the average. x1, x2, x3 here represents the values and n represents the quantity. For example, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's say these 7 values, I add them all up, I get a total of 28. 28 divided by 7, I get the average of 4. Okay, as simple as that. Couple of more things you have to understand here, that one method of finding the average, of course, is adding all the numbers and dividing by n. But there are other methods also. As it says here, average is the central value in a set of data. Okay, so if my values, and this is important, if your values are arranged in a arithmetic progression. Okay, arithmetic progression means what? These are not random set of values, but they have a common increase. If you see 1, 2, 3, they all are increasing by +1. So when the difference between two consecutive terms is constant, and that is d, that is when they are called to be or said to be in arithmetic progression. So when your terms are in arithmetic progression, then and only then, there are multiple other ways of calculating average, which is I can take the one term from the start and an equidistant term from the end. What does equidistant means? If I take first from the start, I should take first from the end. If I take second from the start, I should take second from the end. If I take third from the start, I should take third from the end. So if you take first from the start and first from the end, 1 plus 7, and you just average them, then also you will get the same average. If you take second and second last, 2 plus 6, then also you will get the same average. And if you take third and third last, then also you will get the same average. Sorry, 3 plus 5, then also you will get the same average. Okay, and if you take the middle term, obviously that is the average. You'll have a middle term in case your total number of terms are odd. But in case your total number of terms are even, you will not have a middle term. For example, if this goes to 8, then 4 and 5 are in the center, but there's no term which is exactly in the center. Then the average also will be, now if you see your total is 36, 36 by 8, your average is 4.5. Same, 1 plus 8 will give you 4.5, 2 plus 7 will give you 4.5, 3 plus 6 will give you 4.5, and 4 plus 5 by 2 will also give you 4.5. So you'll get the same average then as well. Okay, so I hope we are clear till here. And this concept also we use a lot. In fact, we'll use right away in a question so that you can understand this. Fine, so let's dig into some questions and understand this better. Theoretically, that's all that is there, but we have had questions which were fairly complex, and one very common theme of CAT questions is that there'll be some other concept also combined. It won't be only average, but average plus progression or average plus something else, and that is where you really need to put your thinking hats on and solve and get the answer. For example, this question. This question is what came in CAT 23 in one of these slots. Now, if you see, this looks like a very simple question, but you'll have to do a bit of work. This is in progression. This is the series, and it is saying average of all the 3-digit terms. So first, if you look at the series, 38, 55, this minus this, the difference is 17. So 17 is what you need to add. So 72 plus 17 will give you 89. 89 plus 17 will give you 106. Okay, so 106 is the first 3-digit term. And then you'll have a Tn, which will be the last 3-digit term. So let's start our series from here. Let's say this is my first term A. In arithmetic progression, if you remember, the first term is called A, the difference is called D, and the last term is called Tn. And the formula to get Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1 D. Okay, so A is 106, n minus 1, n I don't know, n minus 1, but difference I know, difference is equal to 17. And this Tn should be less than or equal to, not even equal to, it should be less than 1000, right? Because it should be a 3-digit term. So using this, 106 minus 17 will give me 89. 89 plus 17n should be less than 1000, or 17n should be less than 911, or n should be less than 911 by 17. Now 911 by 17 will give you 5 times 85. Then you'll have 61. So 3 times point something. Okay, so and n should be less than that. That means n should be 53. So n is 53 is the first thing that we derive. If n is 53, then your last term is going to be this, right? 89 plus 17 into 53. So that will give you 89 plus 7 into 3 is 21, 2 carry, 3 into 1 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 35 is 40, 0 4 carry, 901. So your term is 990. So 990 is your Tn. So you have the first term, you have the last term. Now how do you find the average? The traditional method is sum of all the terms, but sum of all the terms is very time consuming here, because you'll have to use the formula sum, which is equal to n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1d. But if you remember, sum of all the terms also comes from a plus l by 2 into n. Now this is nothing but first term and last term, which is same thing that I told you. If you have series in arithmetic progression, then first term and last term will also give you the average. This is sum. I don't have to find sum, but I have to find average. This is the average. So arithmetic progression, also the formula used is average of the series into number of terms, which will give you the sum, right? So I just have to find the average. So it is a plus l by 2, which is first term plus last term by 2, which is 106 plus 990 by 2, which is 1096 by 2, which is 548. So this is my answer for this question. Okay, simple question, but you can see how the concept of first and last term has been used. AP also has been used. Last term of an AP also has been used. N we had to figure out because it was the last 3-digit term in the sequence. So small concepts all added up to answer this question. Okay, let's move on. In a football tournament, a player has played a certain number of matches and 10 more matches are to be played. So let's say matches. He has played X matches and 10 more matches have to be played. Then if he scores 1 goal over the next 10 matches, his overall average will be 0.15 goals per match. Okay, so let's say goals. He has scored G goals and he'll score 1 more goal over the next 10 matches. So his total goals will be G plus 1. His matches will be X plus 10. That will give you the average, which is 0.15. But it says if he scores 2 goals, then his average will be 0.2. Okay, so G plus 2 upon X plus 10 is equal to 0.2. These are the two equations that we have. So G plus 1 is equal to 0.15x plus 1.5. And this equation will give you G plus 2 is equal to 0.2x plus 2. If I subtract both of them, 1 will be equal to 0.05x plus 0.5, or 1 minus 0.5, 0.5 is equal to 0.05x, or x is equal to 10. Right? So x was the number of matches that he has already played. So answer for this question is 10. The number of matches that he has already played is 10. Just to understand this, let's find out g also. So if I use the first one, equal to 0.2x, so 0.2 into 10 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, g plus 2 is 4, that means g is equal to 2. That means this is the condition. He has played 10 matches and done 2 goals. If he plays 10 more matches and makes 1 goal, then he'll have 3 goals in 20 matches. 3 upon 20 is 0.15. If he shoots 2 goals, then it will be 4 upon 20, which will be 0.2. Okay, but the question was number of matches, and the answer is going to be 10. Okay, easy question. Let's see the next one. 4 friends A, B, C, D, each of them weigh less than 100 kgs. Okay, so A, B, C, D, each of them are less than 100 kgs. From amongst them, they form a group and find the total weight of the group. If the sum of the total weights of all possible distinct groups, each having same number of members as in the first group, is 882. Okay, so we don't know how many members are there in the group. You can make group of one person, 4C1, though then it will not be called a group technically. 2 members, 3 members, and 4 members. These are 4 possibilities. Again, first and fourth unlikely, because first will not be called a group, and in the second one you can't have any more groups, you can have only one group. But just for argument's sake, let's take all of them. So in this case, you'll be able to form 4 groups, which will be A, second group will be B, third group will be C, fourth group will be D. The total weight of all the groups will be A, B, C, D, which will be less than 400 kgs because each of them weighs less than 100 kgs. This is not possible because the question says total weight is 882. Similarly, the fourth one, if I take all 4 in the same group, same situation. You'll have A plus B plus C plus D as the total weight, which will be less than 400, hence it is not possible. Second case, 4C2 will give you 6 groups. Okay, and 6 groups, each group has 2 people, so total 6 group will have 12 people, but people I have only 4. That means every person will get repeated in 3 groups. Okay, how will that happen? Just to understand, your groups will be AB, AC, AD, BC, BD, and CD. These are going to be 6 groups. If you look at anyone, for example, B is here, B is here, and B is here. Can you see B is repeating 3 times? Similarly, everyone will repeat 3 times. Okay, so basically here 3 times A plus B plus C plus D is going to be the total weight of all the groups, which is 882. If you take 4C3, 4C3 is also 4, but there are 3 members per group, so total of 12 members. I have only 4 members, so each person here also gets repeated 3 times, so the equation would be same. Okay, now this, if you see, that means A plus B plus C plus D, this is divisible by 3, so it'll give you 2, then 9, 4. A, B, C, D is 294, and the question is average weight of the 4 friends. So average weight will be this divided by 4. This divided by 4 will give you 73.5. Okay, so your answer is going to be third choice. Fine. I hope we are clear with this. So that's what I told you. Average as a concept is very simple, but very interesting and very intricate questions can be formed, complex questions. And as we go along, your questions will get more and more complex and you will see how to deal with them. But your first principles always remain same, and that you have to apply along with some other common sense and some basic knowledge from some other chapters to solve these questions. Okay, let's look at this one. Onion is sold for 5 consecutive months at rate of, okay, so I have rate, which is 10, 20, 25, 25, and 50. So month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. And the family spends a fixed amount of money for the first 3 months and then half that amount in the next 2 months. Now that amount can be x, but if you take x, you'll have unnecessary fractions. So let's take a value which when divided by 10, 20, 25, 25, 50 gives you an integer. And also remember the amount becomes half in the 4th and the 5th month. So let's take, so here I want an integer. So here it should be 50x. That means here also it should be 50x. So here it should be 100x because it becomes half in the 4th month. 100x and 100x. Let's keep it like this. Okay. So then the question is the average expense for onion in rupees per kg. So average expense over 5 months would be total amount upon total kgs. What is the total amount you spent upon what is the total quantity that you bought. Okay, so quantity will come here from amount upon rate. So 100x upon 100, quantity bought will be 10x. Quantity bought will be 5x, quantity bought will be 4x, quantity bought will be 2x, quantity bought will be 1x. So total amount spent is 100, 200, 300, 400x. Total quantity bought is 10, 15, 19, 20, 22x. So this is 400x upon 22x, which is 400 by 22, which is 200 by 11, okay, which is 1. So 110, 90, you'll have 88, 8 times, then 2 by 11. Okay, so this will be 18.18 rupees per kg. The question says the answer is closest to which values? Of course, the answer is closest to 18, hence 18 becomes my answer for this question. Okay, so again, a simple question. Let's move on. Let's see this. Consider 6 distinct natural numbers such that the average of the two smallest number is 14. Okay, so let's say I have A, which is less than B, less than C, less than D, less than E, less than F. I have these 6 numbers. The average of two smallest number is 14. That means the total is 28. So these two numbers, the total is 28. And the last two largest numbers is 28. That means the total is 56. Okay, then the maximum possible value of the average of the 6 numbers. Now if you see, average will be basically 28 plus C plus D plus 56. So it depends on C and D, and C and D should be as large as possible. But remember, for D to be large, E has to be large because D has to be lower than E. Okay, so now it boils down to what is the highest possible value of E, given that the average is 28 or the total is 56. Now when you want two values to be as large as possible, and remember this as a concept, the value should be as close as possible. So when the total is 56 or the average is 28 and the values are distinct, otherwise I would have said keep both of them as 28, 28, but because the values are distinct, I should keep them as 27 and 29, as close to 28 as possible. So -1 + 1. Because anything else, if you, for example, if you say why not keep F as 30, then this you'll have to reduce, right? You increase one value, you'll have to decrease the other value because the average still is 28. So the more you increase F, the more you will have to decrease E, and the more you decrease E, the more you will have to decrease D. So I want E to be as high as possible, and highest possible value was 28. If they were allowed to be same, if they're not allowed them to be same, then 27 and 29. By same logic, AB, though AB does not really matter too much, but again C should be greater than B. So same logic, we should keep them as 13 and 15. Now you can see D can be 26 and C can be 25. This is the best possible case, 25 and 26. So now if you add everything, you'll have how much? 8 plus 5, 13, 13 plus 6, 19, 19 plus 6, 25, 5, 2 carry, 2 plus 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5, 13. You'll get 135 as the total. Divided by 6, you'll get 22.5 as the answer. So 22.5 is the answer for this question. This is a CAT question that came in CAT 23. Okay, so you can see again simple concepts. have to be used, and you can very easily get the answer for this question. Okay, great. Okay, let's look at this question. This again is a question that came in CAT 23. 4 boys, the average marks of 4 girls and 6 boys is 24. Okay, and each of the girls has the same marks, each of the boys has the same marks. So 4 girls plus 6 boys, average is 24, which tells you that 4G plus 6B is equal to 240. Then if the marks of any girl is at most double the marks of any boy, that means girls less than or equal to 2B, but not less than the marks of a boy, so greater than or equal to B. So this is the data that I have. Okay, then the number of possible distinct integer values of marks of 2 boys, 2 girls and 6 boys. So I have to find out for 2 girls and 6 boys. Now one thing you'll notice, 2 girls and 6 boys I can get from here itself. I can actually break this into 2 girls plus 2 girls plus 6 boys is equal to 240, which will give me 2 girls plus 6 boys is equal to 240 minus 2G. So this is equal to 240 minus 2G, and I have to calculate the values for this. Okay, fine. So we have done till here. Now, how do we proceed? We proceed by taking help of this. Let's look at the lower end where G is equal to B. Okay, let's put that here in the main equation. So 4G plus 6G is equal to 240. That means G is equal to 24. If I put G is equal to 24 here, this will change to 240 minus 2 into 24, or 240 minus 48. That means I'll get highest possible value of 192. Remember, it is 240 minus 2G. So as you take marks of girl to be higher, your total value will be lower. Okay, so here we have taken minimum marks of the girl. Minimum marks of the girl, this is minimum, so this is maximum. So this is the maximum possible value of 240 minus 2G. Second case, let's take G is equal to 2B, which means B is equal to G by 2. So here if I do that in the main equation, I get 4G plus 6B, which is G by 2, is equal to 240, or 7G is equal to 240, or G is equal to 240 by 7. Okay, putting that here again, 240 minus 2G minus 2 into 240 by 7. So if I take 240 out, it is basically 240 into 5 by 7, or 1200 by 7, which if you calculate, you will get 1, then you'll get 50, so 7, then you will get 10, so 1, 3 by 7, 3 by 7 will be about 43. 1 by 7 is 1.1428, so this will be 0.4285, which I can take as 43. So I take max of G, which is this value 240 by 7. So I get minimum of 240 minus 2G, which is 171.43. But remember, the question says integer values. So minimum I'll have to take not 171.43, but higher than that I'll have to take 172. So 172 is the minimum, 192 is the maximum. Their difference is 20 plus 1 because the ends are included. When the ends are included, your method of calculating is highest value minus lower value plus 1. If the ends are not included, it is minus 1. So this will give you 21. So your answer for this question would be 21. Right? So I hope we are clear. It's a good question, and you can see again average, but small things that you'll have to do to get the answer. Okay. There's one more small concept that I use sometimes, and I thought it will be good if I share this with you, which is I use a concept of a standard deviation. Not really standard deviation, but I call it standard deviation. Here what we do is we assume an average. And this typically applies when your values are large and close to each other. For example, this. There's no pattern first, so you can't do first and last. There's no pattern. These are random values, okay? And large values, but very close to each other. So when you have large and close to each other values, this is a very simple method where what we do is we assume an average. So here, for example, of course, and the average ideally should be between the smallest and the largest value, though technically it can be anything. But to minimize your calculation, it's better that you keep it somewhere in the center. So obviously here you can see I've taken the average to be 1000. Once you've assumed the average, what you do is for every value, you do value minus the average. Remember the sequence, value minus the average. So 997 minus 1000, you get minus 3. 1002 minus 1000, you get plus 2, minus 5, minus 11, and plus 7. So these are the 5 values that you get. So this is what we have done if you see. Now to get the final average, what do? You put the assumed mean, which is 1000, plus sum of all the deviations. Now these are called deviations, standard deviation, or you just call them deviation. So these are the deviations. Okay, so you add all the deviations with their sign. So minus 3, plus 2, minus 5, minus 11, plus 7. You do all this, which gives you minus 10, and you divide it by the number of terms. Okay, so 1000 plus minus 10 by 5, which will give you 1000 minus 2, which will give you 998. So that's how you can get the answer. So if you see, the formula boils down to this. It is the assumed mean plus summation of each term minus the assumed mean. Remember, term minus the mean is always the sequence, irrespective of the sign, whether you get plus or minus, you take the sign also. So you add all those deviations and you divide it by the number of terms. Okay, useful concept, can minimize your calculation in a lot of questions. Okay.